Good morning, Grizzlies. I'm Camden.
And I'm Bailey.
On May 7, 2025, India launched air and drone strikes on targets in Pakistan-administered Kashmir and Punjab, claiming to hit militant camps responsible for an April 22nd terrorist attack in Kashmir that killed 26 Indian tourists. The Indian government reported the deaths of over 100 militants, including a top Jaish-e-Mohammed commander. Pakistan condemned the strikes as an act of war, reporting civilian casualties and launching counterattacks that included downing Indian jets and firing across the line of control. India intercepted further Pakistani strikes using its missile defense systems. The conflict marks the most serious military escalation between the nuclear-armed neighbors since 2019. Global leaders are urging restraint as tensions continue to rise. This is a developing situation, and we will inform our audience of any further developments. In similarly dire news, multiple Israeli airstrikes reportedly pounded the grounds of the Gaza Strip, resulting in the deaths of dozens of people. The government of Israel has reaffirmed its plans to capture more land in the enclave and force upwards of 2 million Gaza residents south. This renewed act of violence came after Israel announced earlier this week that it was calling up tens of thousands of military reservists to enact the expansion of the war, ditching the previously existing ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. This, too, is a developing story, and we will keep you updated on what's to come. Lastly, the new pope has finally been chosen, and he's the first ever American pope in history. Cardinal Robert Prevost, an American missionary who spent his career ministering in Peru and led the Vatican's powerful office of bishops, was elected as the first American pope in the 2,000-year history of the Catholic Church. Prevost, at the ripe age of 69, took the name Leo XIV. That's all for World. Now over to National News with Bailey.
Thank you, Camden. In national news, immigration has become a frequently discussed topic with the new administration. To start, a judge in Wisconsin, Hannah Dugan, was arrested and charged with obstruction for allegedly attempting to help an undocumented immigrant escape arrest. Eduardo Flores Ruiz appeared in court for a scheduled hearing where he was to face 3 counts of misdemeanor battery, where ICE arrived to arrest him. While the agents waited outside the courtroom, Dugan led Flores Ruiz to a side door. He managed to exit the courthouse but was arrested not long after the escape. Dugan was also arrested shortly after, and she could now face up to 6 years in prison. This event has created a lot of discourse from members of both political parties, with most wondering what this will mean for the future of court proceedings. Still on the topic of immigration, there have recently been talk of a plan to deport some immigrants to Libya, which is a country they're not from. AP News reports that U.S. District Judge Brian Murphy ruled that people can't be deported away from their homeland before getting a meaningful opportunity to argue that it would jeopardize their safety. In addition to Libya, people have been deported to El Salvador, Panama, and Costa Rica, who are not citizens of those countries. These third country deportations have sparked many questions about due process. President Trump has been attempting to invoke the Alien Enemies Act to carry out these deportations. The Alien Enemies Act has historically only been used during times of war and gives the president the power to deport migrants if there is an invasion or attack. However, many judges across the nation are arguing that these grounds are not valid due to the fact that neither a war or an invasion are currently occurring. Now on to Henry with sports.
Thanks, Bailey. All right, let's get to the one thing anybody cares about right now, and that is playoff hockey. So over here in the West, we have what could easily be a Stanley Cup final matchup here in the second round. The Winnipeg Jets face off against the Dallas Stars, both winning their respective first-round matchups in these Game 7s that were really, really close. So right now, both of these teams still kind of reeling from that very close victory that allowed them to get to that second round. Last night was a close game, 2-3 for the Stars. Very, very close. Winnipeg probably going to claw that one back. Let's go down to this Vegas Golden Knights and Edmonton. Edmonton looked like they were cooked. I'm going to be honest. They lost the first 2 games in what I would call epic proportions. But, you're a fool if you doubt Connor McJesus. And Connor McJesus showed up in this game, down 2-0 to the Vegas Golden Knights. They scored 4 unanswered goals. McJesus and Leon Draisaitl. They really pulled off that victory. Shocking upset. I'm going to be honest. I think Edmonton's going to pull through on this one. And let's talk about my favorite matchup, because my Toronto Maple Leafs are beating the crap out of Florida. If you want to watch a pile-on every single night, you can watch the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Rats in Florida. the rats that we hate so much. Brad Marchand, Matthew Tkachuk, just these very bad players with a very bad reputation. They ended up hurting. Sam Bennett ended up elbowing Toronto's starting goalie, Anthony Stolarz, in the head. He's out for what's looking to be about 4 games with a concussion. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Toronto's really showing them how you respond. It's not by punching them. It's not by kicking them. It's by beating their butts in a game 2. And now we're going to look at this game, the Washington Capitals versus the Carolina Hurricanes, a game which I think people thought was going to be a lot closer, but people tend to forget that Ovi's getting old. He's getting up in years. He might be the head scorer of the NHL, but he also has creaky knees because he's an old man. And that really showed. They got outshot something crazy like 32-9 in this game. You can't win games if you're getting outshot by that much. Despite the fact Washington was leading by 1 goal, Carolina ended up coming back, winning in overtime. So right now, this looks like it's going to be a pretty intense bracket. Looks like it's going to get pretty scary. Although if you have any room left at the end of the night, please send out a prayer for my Toronto Maple Leafs. That's all we got for sports. Sending it over to entertainment.
To start you off with entertainment, Marvel recently had their movie Thunderbolts playing in theaters. It got a rating of 4.4 stars and has grossed over $172.9 million, becoming the 8th highest grossing film of 2025. That is quite the marvel, isn't it? Now, news that is no surprise that GTA 6 has been delayed until 2026. I know, we got Bear Claw broadcast talking about GTA before GTA 6, but in some fun news, they did release a trailer for the game, so that's a step in the right direction. On May 5th is when the Met Gala had their fashion event, and at the Met Gala, Andre 3000 wore a piano on his back, which I believe is the key to fashion. He really set the tone for the others to step up. And lastly, Trump has been making his plans to put 100% tariffs on all foreign films. So any film that gets made not solely in the US will be costing more. This is said to be put in place so that it can help Hollywood. That's all I got for you, entertainment. Hopefully it's been entertaining enough for you, sending you back to the desk.
Thank you, Damon. That was marvelous and entertaining. Well, that's all we have for Bear Claw Broadcast today. I've been Camden.
And I've been Bailey.
Thank you for watching.